If you've decided that you want to start running your own business, then regardless of whether you're going down the sole trader or limited company routes, you're going to need to get a business bank account. Getting one of these is an important step to take because it allows you to keep your personal and your business affairs completely separate, which will not only save you a ton of headaches in the future, but also your accountants. In this day and age, we're really spoilt for choice when it comes to business bank accounts, but that doesn't mean that you should rush out and apply for the first bank that you come across, because some banks are much worse than others and should be avoided where possible if you don't want to pull all of your hair out in a fit of rage. As someone that's created multiple businesses over the past 5 years, I've done my fair share of business bank account application forms, and I've developed a pretty good understanding of the type of banks that are good for new small business owners and the ones that aren't so accommodating. So in this video, we're going to be running through the 3 different banks that I've used and that I recommend that you check out, along with the different considerations that you should take into account before choosing which is right for you. And then I'll also cover some tips to help you with the application process. One thing to take into account with business bank accounts is that you're not limited to just one. In fact, with my Amazon FBA business, I've got 2 that I use for different purposes. One for storing funds and making deposits, and one for paying suppliers in US dollars. While some people prefer to just stick with one business bank account for simplicity, there's no rule when it comes to how many you're allowed, though obviously it's probably best to not overdo it for the sake of your accountant's sanity. So if you like the look of more than one of the business accounts that I run through in this video, there's nothing stopping you from applying for both. When I created my first business back in 2018, I wanted a business account with a bank that had a presence on the high street, and that was just for that extra peace of mind. I already had a personal banking relationship with Lloyds, so not much more thinking went into it than that. I decided to apply for an account with them. Opening a business bank account with a high street bank that you already have a personal relationship with is definitely going to speed up the application process versus going with a bank that's never heard of you. The verification checks are incredibly quick, and in my experience, I was able to get a bank account set up in just 4 days, which really helped to keep the momentum going in the early days of running my business. If you have any questions about the application process or your account when it has been created, you've got the flexibility to be able to go into a branch, call up or chat online, which is great for that extra peace of mind if you're the type of person that does like to worry. Since opening that account with Lloyds in 2018, I've stuck with them as my main business bank account, even though after 12 months of using them, they do start to charge an account fee of £7 a month. It's not a huge amount, and even though other banking options that I'm going to be running through don't have a monthly fee, I'm probably still not going to switch banks just because of their UK high street presence. High street business bank accounts work pretty similarly to most personal bank accounts that you'll have come across. So they have debit cards with good fraud prevention, the ability to do bank transfers, and so on and so on. However, where they do fall short is on the tech side. Their apps are usually limited in functionality. Foreign exchange transfers are slow, unintuitive, and expensive, and there are rarely any benefits that you'll get as a result of your spending. And that's why I have business accounts with other banks in order to make up for those shortcomings and get the best of both worlds. The second business bank account that I recommend is with a digital bank named Tide. Tide is a relatively new kid on the block and only recently started to get the attention that it deserves. In terms of the application process, Tide is very swift and efficient, and I was accepted within just a few days of applying without any issues at all. During your application, you may be asked to provide details about your business, and I'll run through how to answer those questions at the end of this video. If you're an Amazon FBA seller and you're wondering whether Tide accounts can be used on your seller's account, the good news is that yes, as of 2022, they can. As a digital bank, Tide has an entirely online presence, so no high street branches for you to be able to visit. The upside of that though is that they have much lower overheads than the likes of Lloyds, HSBC and so on, and because of that they're able to invest heavily into their app and tech offering. The phone app is light years ahead of any high street bank that I've used. You can raise invoices for your customers, apply tags and comments to any expenses that you've made, which is great for accounting purposes, and loads more. You can also make foreign exchange payments to overseas suppliers for a small charge, and with the cashback account, get 0.5% of your expenditure reimbursed to you every single month. And just for viewers of this channel, if you sign up using the link in the description, you'll get £50 credited to your account as soon as you make a deposit. The final business account that I recommend and use is with Wise, formerly known as TransferWise. Now, Wise slightly differs from the other two options because it's not classed as a bank, but an e-money institution, which means that from a regulatory point of view, your funds don't have the same level of protection that a bank would offer in the event that it went bust. But with that said, Wise is a multi-billion-pound company that is regulated by the FCA, so it still safeguards your funds in a completely separate account to its own. The application process with Wise is incredibly quick and easy, and you can have pound, US dollars and euro accounts all set up and running within 20 minutes. There is a small setup charge if you want to get a debit card, and whilst it is a bit of an annoyance to pay up front, in my view, it's completely worth it for the savings that you'll get when making overseas transfers. Paying foreign suppliers is the exact reason that I set a Wise account up in 2018, and it's still my preferred route to do that. The rate that I'm offered is typically aligned to what you'll find on Google, and payments are made on the Swift network, which are usually received the same or the next day. The app's functionality is fantastic and it keeps you updated on the whereabouts of your money whenever you make a payment, and they've even started to recently offer the ability to purchase stocks, shares and crypto. Unfortunately, at the moment though, there's no option to get cashback or any other perks on your spending. So if you're looking for something like that, you may want to consider Tide as well, or get a cashback card from Capital on Tap. Once you've decided which business account or accounts you want to get, you'll need to start the application process where you'll be asked to provide your company name, your incorporation number, as well as your personal details, which includes providing proof of identity and proof of address. All pretty standard stuff that you should already have to hand. Most banks, with the exception of Wise, will then usually ask you to explain the purpose of your business, your expected revenue, as well as details of your supplier. With questions like these and any that are similar, try to keep your answers as broad and high level as possible. So say things like, we are an e-commerce business that aims to sell products within the home category on platforms such as Amazon, all sourced from a supplier in China. We expect to achieve revenues of 50K in our first year of trading. That level of detail is sufficient. Now, you may be asked to provide additional supporting documents about your business, which you can usually source from your accountant, HMRC, or a company that you've recently made a business purchase from. Some banks, such as Starling, have been known to reject applications because their robot doesn't like the answers that it's been given. So if that does happen to you, go with one of my recommendations in this video instead. And if it's still happening, try to source the email of the support team so that you can circumvent the robotic application process and explain that you're a startup business that hasn't actually started trading yet. If you can try and communicate that to a person rather than an automated application form, your chances of getting a quick approval are going to be heightened considerably. So that was a review of the 3 business bank accounts that I run across all of the businesses that I own. Lloyds, a high street bank that I like to have for peace of mind. Tide, a free digital account that comes with lots of great perks, including £50 for free if you use the link below this video, and then Wise, who I use to pay all of my suppliers. If you guys have any of your own recommendations, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time.